Hi guys, welcome to Beyond Beauty. Today we are having a very special Mind Matters mental health special.
Yeah, and I'm very excited because this is such a interesting topic. There's so much to cover. So, welcome and we're very excited to have you all join us once again. And in case you're new here, let us just tell you that every live we choose 5 lucky winners and we give them really special hampers. So, ensure that you all are asking us questions, interacting with us, and just generally having fun with us. And we will
Keep
pick,
chatting with us
yes,
in the
basically
comments.
that. And
To
yeah.
start off with, on our mental health special, let's get candid. Tell me, when was the last time you cried?
Oh wow. I think it was last week sometime. I think crying is very healthy.
Yeah,
Don't do it. I don't do it every single day. Obviously, that's just
that's
whack.
a choice. Sometimes I make that choice.
If I'm having like a really rough week, but I think last week sometime, and then I got amazing sleep after I cried.
You always get great sleep. It's like you tire your body out with the
Yes,
tears.
and my skin was
Yes,
amazing the next day. I don't know if
this
this
is a
is,
thing.
yeah, it definitely
Guys,
is.
please tell us in the comments if you have experienced this after like a good crying session. Your skin does look amazing. So please tell us if you
Yeah.
agree.
What about you? When was the last time you cried?
So I wouldn't say cried, but I had like tears in my eyes yesterday because one of my best friends got proposed to,
Oh,
and
that's
her
sweet.
now fiance, oh my god, he invited all of us to their like room, and he had decorated everything, and it was like the sweetest thing ever. And it's his birthday today, but he did this for her, so it was like a very sweet moment. I was like, oh.
But those are happy tears. I want
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sad tears.
You want sad
Sad, yeah,
tears?
like I want to know. Because I'll tell you why. Because when
Hmm.
we're happy, I think it's easier to talk about it.
Correct.
But when we're not feeling our best or we're having like a rough time, I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets a little conscious to talk about, okay, I'm having a bad day
Mm-hmm.
or, I'm not feeling that great, even between like friends.
Yeah.
So,
I think getting overwhelmed at
yeah.
work is one thing for sure.
Yep.
Like even like it's like no one would be mad at me, but I feel like, oh, I've done something wrong, and I'm like, oh, I've done something wrong, and then it's
Yeah.
full tears.
I think that's true. So, I wanted to just generally
Hmm.
talk about how we don't talk about mental health.
Right.
I think that's a very important aspect because there's a lot of stigma
Mm-hmm.
attached to it. So, what are some things that I think you have done for your own mental health? And like, also, I feel like we have our own stigmas attached
Right.
where we don't admit maybe. So, have you
Definitely.
felt that?
There is this whole thing about like asking for help being perceived as a weakness, and
Hmm.
it's like, okay, but just you'll get over it. But
Correct.
sometimes you don't get over it, you need a
Hmm.
little bit of help to get over it. So like recently I was going through something in like my personal life, and I was getting very overwhelmed with everything, and I was like, this is now something that is outside of my capacity to
Yeah.
handle, and that's when I made the
Decision.
that I'll reach out for like professional help with a therapist. So that was like
Yes.
a big step, and I'm
That's amazing. And I think just in general,
mhm.
talking about therapy on such a platform is
Yeah,
also like a big deal. And in fact, this June is celebrated or is like spoken about as Men's Mental Health Month. And I think that is also such an
that is something that
underrated,
needs a
a lot
lot
of
of
attention.
discussion.
Yes, that's for sure. So I'm just gonna go through the comments and just say hi to everyone who's come along. Hi Palak, hi Azmina, hi Devina. Thank you so much for joining us. If you all have any questions or anything that you all would like to talk about
Yeah,
when it
if
comes to
there's
mental
anything you
health,
want to add, please
yep,
tell us in the comments.
yep,
And for especially when we're talking about men's mental health, it is so important, like for firstly for us to recognize the kind of pressure that is on men in the Indian society
yeah,
specifically.
that's true.
Because like yes, we know that like we want to always like stick to this that men and women are equal, but at the end of the day in
There
like
are different.
smaller cities or everywhere else, it's always like if the guy is not the breadwinner, he's seen as very
Yeah, I think
like that's
each
the
role
goal.
has a lot of like pressures of their own,
Exactly.
and just generally having that conversation and having that space.
Mm-hmm.
So what are like some things that you have done for your friends, let's say for your guy
Mm-hmm.
friends, or even like just for your friends in general?
Yeah.
Let's just remove the gender out of it.
So I think just allowing people to express their emotions. If you're crying, cry it out. Don't, like, I feel like when people are crying and you try to overcorrect and be like, oh no, stop crying, it's fine. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
let
yeah.
them have their moment. So,
Correct.
yeah.
That's true. That's true. I agree. I think for me, it would just be like constantly like reassuring
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, if you're having like a hard time, I'm here for you if you would like to catch up about
Yeah.
something. And also like being a little bit more in tune of their
Yeah.
behaviors.
A bit more aware.
Yeah, because like if I see like one of my friends who's super active, let's say on social media, and
Yeah.
then suddenly like doesn't post or is like on the down low,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, okay, are you feeling good? Is
Yeah.
there something
You
that you
should
would?
recognize the
Yeah, I
signs.
think just spending that time to see if your friends are like themselves
Yeah.
also makes like a huge difference.
So we do have a lot of love in the comments from YouTube as well. Thank you everyone for joining in. And Sangeeta is asking us, how are you guys? So
we
that is,
that's I love that question.
thanks for checking
So
in.
sometimes when someone you've seen those memes where someone is just like, if someone just asks me one more time, are you
Yeah.
okay,
It's like,
and then full the Nile will flow.
mm-hmm.
I think I've had those days.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it also is like it becomes more when I'm about to like get
Yeah,
my
it's like, oh yeah.
period.
The mental health and
Yeah,
periods go hand in
because
hand.
it's all hormonal, right? So I definitely feel that. And also I've realized that it shows on the face, like
Oh,
skin and health.
when you're stressed.
Yep, stress, not sleeping enough. I think everything when it comes to health is
Hmm.
super related.
Yeah. So Sangeeta is also mentioning in the comments about men's mental health, specifically why are boys called, like, why do you cry? Boys don't cry. Like, that is a big thing. Like, boys
That
are not
is
supposed to
so
cry.
true,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's again coming from the fact that, boys are supposed to be strong and they're
Hmm.
supposed to be uh,
Very,
not,
yeah.
yeah, they're
Like,
not,
crying is seen as a
yeah,
anti-masculine.
yeah, like ladki jaisa kya ro raha hai, is
Yeah, that
that,
is
and that
what.
is that is so offensive on so many levels, firstly. But I think it's also because the pressure of men
Yeah.
just being, all the time solution oriented and very
Hmm.
like not supposed to emote.
Yeah.
It's all BS. Okay, it's
Correct.
all BS. I think everyone should find ways to express in a
Mm-hmm.
healthy manner.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
because our media has also not portrayed men in the best way, like the angry young man
Yeah.
is,
The Kabir Singh effect.
yeah, guys, if you all have related to that movie even this much, please get help.
Yes. It is not a
Immediate,
relatable movie.
yeah, either if you are
Shouldn't be.
Kabir or Preeti, please both go get help.
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
yeah.
So before we go in with our expert today, I want to tell you guys a little bit about her. So she is a mental health professional, and अगर आपके पास कोई भी questions है about mental health in a more professional level, like, of course we are just in the journey with you also, we can't really guide you with your answers here, but if you have any specific questions, please put them in the comments and get ready for a more in-depth conversation. So we are going to have Charvi joining us very soon. And before she comes on, let us start off with announcing our
First,
first two winners of today's show.
yes.
So congratulations to
Shikha
Shikha
and
and
Shweta.
Shweta. So
Yay! Congratulations.
congratulations.
Please send us your details on this email ID live@purple.com for you to get your very specialized hampers. Give us your contact details, address, and
Number
and
and
yeah, the Jing Bang.
everything.
Contact details is on
Correct.
the back.
Contact details is.
Yes. So okay, I think we should
Yes,
bring on
let's have
our
Charvi
expert.
on
Yeah.
now.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Mohana and Priyanka. Excited to be here.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us and coming and talking about this very important topic. So just off the bat, like
Mhm.
what has your journey been like? Coming into this as a professional.
Right.
Well, there's actually a story behind it. So I grew up around my father, who's now diagnosed with schizophrenia, but he's always had the symptoms of schizophrenia, and it literally took 15 whole years for my grandparents to sort of accept that and take him to a psychiatrist.
Right.
So of course back then the stigma was a lot more. So I do understand where they were coming from, but that also meant that he did not get help for 15 whole years, and the entire family, of course, bear bore the brunt of this entire thing. So I think somewhere that sort of, maybe I developed a curious mind around psychology. I always wanted to understand why my father behaved a certain way, and that probably culminated into my interest in psychology, and ultimately going ahead and taking up psychology as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
But the more and more I got into this field, the more and more I realized that I believe that I didn't want more people and more families to really not reach out for help, just because of the stigma and the lack of awareness that exists. And that's something that is so something which is I'm so passionate about, and that's something I really want to advocate for, both as a mental health professional and also someone who has lived with a person with a severe mental health condition.
Right.
So, as a family member, what would you say is what can we do if anyone around us is going through something? How do we identify this and how do we help them out?
Yeah, I think firstly, today we live in a generation where information is very readily available, which is also a good thing. So I think we are a lot more informed than what we were like 20 years ago. So I think I was hearing the conversation you both were having, and I think one of you mentioned about checking in with your friends
Yeah.
when they're not themselves, and that is so important. Whenever we see people, deviating from their usual self, I think it's so important to just check with them how they are doing, and giving them that safe, non-judgmental space to just say what they have to say. But very often, I think what we do that is we go into that solution focused
Hmm.
mode where we start giving them, okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can make them feel invalidated, that can make them feel not heard. So I think sometimes just listening itself is a very, very important thing. And maybe if we just do that, that is a very important support that we can give to our loved ones. And of course, when we realize or recognize that they're going through something serious, we can always very subtly nudge them into, seeking professional help, not in a way that, hey, something is wrong with you, you're going crazy and you should go seek help,
Yeah.
but not in a derogatory way, but in a way that, hey, I'm concerned about you and I'm not equipped enough to handle this. It'll be nice if you actually reach out to someone who's more specialized to deal with this issue. So I think that also takes away the shame of reaching out. It destigmatizes what they're going through. So yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
true. And I actually have one tip for anyone who's just like, wants to be there for their friends. Something that I have learned over time is
Mm-hmm.
that when someone comes to me and says, like, okay, I want to talk to you about something, I'll first ask, like, okay, do you want me to listen or do you want advice?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's great.
you tell me what you want so that I can provide you with that. And sometimes when I want to vent, I will always ask us, I'll be like, okay, do you have like the headspace to listen to me
Mm-hmm.
rant for like 5 minutes? And you don't have to say anything, I just want you to listen. So I think even just again like checking in if the other person has the mental
If they are
bandwidth
also okay
okay
to
to.
handle this.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
And what would
So
you say?
important.
Yeah. And how would you advise us on if we are trying to help out someone and we experience a lot of backlash from their end or they are kind of in denial?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question. I get that a lot because a lot of people, they want to help their loved ones, but there is a lot of resistance that comes in, and sometimes they're not ready really to accept what they're going through or to seek help. And in that place, we can feel a little helpless because we want to help them, we are concerned about them, and yet they don't see that. So in that case, I think I always say that we need to know where our boundaries are also. So
Hmm.
there is only so much that we can do. We can reach out, we can suggest, we can gently check in on them, but ultimately we have to give them the space to figure out whenever they're ready, and reach out for help. So we have done our bit by doing our homework and sharing maybe resources with them, but
Yeah.
ultimately if we pressurize too much and be too forceful, sometimes that can also go against their own healing process. So giving that space becomes important, and knowing that ultimately we need to know our boundaries too, and we need to know where to draw that line. So yeah, I think I always do that. Even as a therapist, sometimes I find that a lot of clients who come to me, let's say they probably stop coming, and I know that they desperately need help, but I need to
Hmm.
know that, okay, this is my boundary. I can reach out to them once or twice, but I cannot be on their heads, because then they can feel a little judged, or they can feel little pressurized, which can go against the whole process.
That's true. That does make sense. And I think that's also important for our own mental health
Hmm.
to create that, space. So
Yeah.
a few people are like asking about some things that we can do to like comfort our mind when we're
Hmm.
having like a bad day, or it's just been like a rough couple of
Yeah,
days.
or to relax. So
Yep.
there's a comment in here from one of our viewers, and she's saying that she tends to be very angry and how to clear her
Okay.
mind and relax. And also,
Okay.
everyone
Okay.
watching, please
Yeah.
send in your questions.
Questions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a nice question, and I think we have, as a culture, we look at anger in a very derogatory way. Like, anybody who gets angry, we're like, okay, I mean, she has a lot of temper, or whenever we are angry, we are also trying to stop our anger in a way.
Hmm.
But anger again is an emotion, and all our emotions are like messengers. They're always trying to tell us something. So I'm not saying that lashing out in anger or being aggressive and violent is okay. So the actions around it is something we can choose, and we can decide how we want to express that anger. But anger in itself is actually not a bad thing. it's
Hmm.
it's like a messenger. It's telling us something. So since you mentioned that you want to clear your mind, it's
Yeah.
an indication that there's something that's bothering you, right? There's something around you, or some significant other is doing something that you are disappointed about. So I think when you recognize what it is that's bothering you, when you give space and hear it out, chances are that you will be able to take actions around it, or you'll be able to communicate that to that person. Of course, I'm not saying that that person will be receptive of that always, but chances are that if you voice it out, if you address that issue, there is likely a better chance of that thing getting resolved, rather than me just shoving it under the blanket because I don't want to seem angry, I don't want to act upon my anger.
Yeah.
So I think my advice to everybody who has anger issues is, I think, don't really negate your anger. Your anger is important, it's telling you very vital information. But yeah, we can choose how we want to express that anger better. So that's something we can be mindful about, that okay, how do I want to really express my anger? Do I want to shout at this person, or do I want to sit down and communicate why I'm angry about this? I think that makes a whole lot of difference.
So identifying the root cause
Yeah.
probably would be helpful in this case.
And just like better ways to like cope with,
Express.
yeah,
Yeah.
cope with and express. I think that's important. There's one thing that I feel like all of us
Hmm.
feel in the lives that we live right now is the stress is just a common, like, I
It's
mean,
always
yeah, it's
there.
common, but it's not supposed to be normalized, right? So what is something that we
Yeah.
can do, because we have like a few people here asking us,
Yeah, we have a lot of
or
questions on how to avoid
stress.
stress.
So, like, stress is the number one cause of so many, like, even physical illnesses, like it
Hmm.
triggers other things. So what is something that we can do to like manage it?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess stress again is something which has both good sides and bad sides of it. In fact, you know what? Imagine if you had no stress at all. Let's imagine that we woke up one day and had no stress at all. How do you think that day is going to go?
In my mind,
I
that's
think.
like me living as a cat. So that would
Yeah.
be a stress-free life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we often look at it, oh my God, that'll be like a fantasy day,
Yeah.
like it'll be so amazing. I have no stress. But you know what? You'll probably not even get up from bed
Hmm.
because there will be no motivation, right? So if you don't have stress, we wouldn't be doing all the things that we are doing. We wouldn't be caring about all the things that we care about. So, like just like when we have exams coming in, immediately because of the stress of exams coming in, our productivity level increases, right? We start learning the chapters which we took so many days to learn. Because exams are close by, we can do it so much quicker. So that's a stress making us more productive. Similarly, when we are crossing the road and there's a car coming in, and automatically we just step back because
Yeah.
we see that the car is coming. So that's again a stress response, which is the fight or flight response that takes over and saves us. So
Hmm.
stress is actually a survival mechanism. It saves us, it protects us, it signals our mind to be more careful and alert, right? So stress is not really a bad thing. It just makes us more productive and alert, and safeguards us. But yeah, now we live in a world where we are constantly, in that stressful mode, and that becomes a problem because stress also releases a hormone called cortisol, and that can impact our sleep, it can impact our skin, it can impact so many different organs of our body. So constantly living in that stressful zone can have a multiple effects on our physical health, on our mental health. And yeah, so that's something we really need to be mindful of. So usually on a day to day basis, I think what we can do, like having certain lifestyle habits in place, can go a long way in managing stress. So this is a no brainer, but of course we all know that movement is really important, whether it is in the form of exercise or dancing, or it could be zumba, whatever it is that you like. But like just moving your body in the day, in whichever form which you like, can go a long way in elevating the bringing down the cortisol levels and increasing your serotonin levels, so those hormones can then balance itself out. So that is one bit. And the second bit is, I think, which you talked about, which is emotions. And I'm so glad we started the note on crying. And I think this is something I advocate for all the time, that yeah, I think crying is so helpful. But in this case, what I'm talking about is just giving space to our emotions. If we are stressful or if we are burnt out, like giving space to it and understanding it, and then sort of taking steps around it, right? Not ignoring it, which we have
Yeah.
gotten used to doing. Because of course, like right now we are living in a very fast capitalistic world, which we look at our day's worth in terms of how productive we were. We are not looking at it in terms of, okay, how much meaning did I get from my day, how fulfilled do I feel from my day, or how happy did I make myself today. Like, our way of measuring our day itself it has gotten wrong, and that can induce stress on a daily basis. So checking onto our definitions of success, our definitions of self-worth, is can go a long way in preventing us putting that additional pressure on ourselves to constantly be productive, and making proving ourselves by doing something external to feel like, okay, we are worthy enough today. Yeah.
I also want to bring up one more thing, which I personally am seeing a lot on social media, which is a lot of people sort of giving out mental health advice, or people just listing out, like, if you do this, you're depressed. And it's like, I feel like that is a bit harmful for
Yeah.
people to panic and self diagnose themselves. So, what are your thoughts on this? And
Yeah.
how can we actually identify if something's wrong?
Yeah, I think OCD is the most like
Yeah,
commonly,
it's like a meme at this point.
yeah, like, oh, I just like my things neat and clean, so I have OCD. And I think that's so damaging for people who actually do struggle with the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it has a lot to do with half-baked information that are
Mm,
floating around, right? So because we don't know exactly what it is, because now we just know the terms very, I mean, it's become a norm that we just started using it very loosely.
yeah.
So I think just knowing it better, understanding what it actually is, which means that learning more about it can be helpful. But in this case, usually when we talk about like a disorder versus when it is okay and when it is something which can be pathological, there are two things which I always talk about. And I think a lot of people ask me about sadness versus depression also, because
That's a
Yes.
sadness is like
very.
a major symptom of depression. So a lot of people say that, hey, how do I know that I'm depressed? Is it just sadness that's going to go away, or is it really clinical depression? So firstly, you don't have to really know whether it is pathological to really seek help. You can, if you're feeling distress, if you're feeling challenged by your emotions, you're feeling overwhelmed, and you're not really being the way you used to be, it's okay to seek help even if you're not sure if it's pathological or not. But when you absolutely should seek help is when that sadness doesn't go away, like it's persistent for a long period of time. And secondly, the intensity. So if I'm sad and I'm still able to do rest of the things well, I'm still social, and it's not impacting my mood, my sleep, my food, and my social life and my productivity, then okay, the intensity of that sadness is not so much that it's impacting my functionality. It's okay, maybe I can give it some more time and see whether it phases out or not. But if it starts affecting my functionality, I'm seeing that it's affecting my work, I'm seeing that I'm avoiding meeting people, and I'm avoiding phone calls, I'm staying at home more, I'm not enjoying activities which I used to enjoy. So clearly those are red flags, and that's definitely, then you must seek professional help. So yeah, so I always talk about these two things, not just with sadness and depression. It's to do with everything, whether it is about anxiety or overthinking. Anytime you see any of your mental health issues affecting your functionality, I think we must then take it seriously and take professional help.
I'm so glad you brought up overthinking just now, because I had watched like a TED talk sometime back about a guy talking about overthinking, and he mentioned two tips which I really liked and I would like to share for everyone that goes through this, because it's personally helped me a lot. So he said that there are two things you need to keep in mind if you are overthinking and thinking that, oh, you've messed up in some way. So two things. First, it's not about you,
Mm.
and it's, you maybe there's something going on in the other person's
Person's
life, you're not perceiving it the right way. And the second thing is, it is about you, so it's your tendency to overthink
think.
things which you're making a big deal out of.
Yeah, that's true. I think like a lot of times, again, there's again so much information, but I feel like a lot of times we might project our like for example, if you and I have an argument,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might just be my mood that is bad about something else, and I've just like projected it onto her. So you might like to possibly
Yeah,
deal with it, could just be like, okay, it was not about me, she's just having like a bad day. I think that also helps to like deal with the fact that yes, it's
yeah.
not like not to take things personally per se.
So, since we brought up conflicts between friends or other close people in your life, how would you suggest people deal with this? Because I personally get very hung up on arguments, especially with friends, like with my best friend. If we have a small argument, also, it's like I will not be still till it's solved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing about not taking things personally. That is so important when it comes to overthinking, when it comes to other mental health issues as well. So, definitely that one thing, even when it comes to conflicts, more often than not, it's not really about you, it's about that person. Maybe that person going through a bad day, or that person having certain experiences which made them react that way. And then, since you mentioned, it's also about us, because certain the situations, how we are making sense of it, how we are making meaning of it. So in fact, just recently I did a TED talk on reality. What is reality after all? So the way we perceive situations isn't always how the situation actually
Yeah,
was. So two people can be in the same situation and they can interpret it in just complete different ways, because we have filters in our mind, right? The way we have lived, conditioning we have had, the experiences we have had, they all lead us to have certain filters in the way we see things. So for example, a person who has always had growing up had people who betrayed this person,
mm-hmm.
who's had a lot of people who's broken the trust. So obviously, this person is going to be a lot more skeptical about the other person. It's going to be very hard for this person to trust other people now. So slightest of the sign that they see that this person might be not completely honest, they might just jump to conclusion that okay, this person is untrustworthy. So
Hmm.
similarly, a lot of times we have these biases in our head, these notions in our head, which can make us interpret a situation a certain way. So what can help is we can check on that. Like sometimes before jumping to conclusion, we can question that could there be other possible reasons why this situation was the way it was, or why this person reacted to me this way. Could there be other possible explanations to that as well? So to question ourselves before we jump to conclusions can help us know that yeah, this may not be the only reason why that's coming on my head, that's why the person reacted this way. There could be different possible reasons, and hence maybe I can ask this person
Yeah.
and be confirmed with this person before me thinking in my head, oh, it must be that. So that's something I always advocate for, and communication can actually clear a lot of things. But
Yeah.
having said that, when it comes to overthinking, I wanted to add one thing, that it's so important to also know that our thoughts are not always facts. In fact, our thoughts are not facts, they are just a figment of our subconscious mind. So a lot of us, we get more frazzled and anxious because we believe that whatever we are thinking is true or will come true. And a lot of us, I think, have read The Secret. We know that, our thoughts have the power to manifest, etc. And that can go against it, because the moment we have negative thoughts, we feel like, oh my God, now what if I manifest these negative thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So I think I really wanted to bring this up, that, our thoughts are not facts. They're just a figment of subconscious mind. They become important or significant only when we give it importance, when we start believing in them and then start taking actions around them. So as long as we just like look at it as thoughts, they don't have power over us, so we need to be mindful of that.
I just have one like question to what you just said, that sometimes when the negative thoughts come, we just like start to like spiral.
Mm-hmm.
It leads, it's like a domino effect. So do you have
Yeah.
any tools or like actual tools that possibly can help us like snap out of it? Because sometimes I catch myself like if I'm having a bad day, then I'll just
Fully
obsess over
spiraling.
it
Yeah.
and then like keep going. Whereas I could just snap out of it. Like in my logical brain, I think that, huh, okay, it's fine, it's just
Yeah.
one bad thing, but the
Yeah.
subconscious or the emotional part usually takes over. So do you have any tools that we can use?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the our body, our mind rather, has the ability to hold multiple thoughts in the mind. So if you're having one negative thought, doesn't mean that you can't go about your day. You can always sort of let the thought be. So a lot of us, what we try to do is we try to stop thinking that. But we all know this example that, when you say that, okay, stop thinking about the pink elephant,
Depend up
you are
thinking about it more.
the pink elephant. So this idea to try and stop thinking about it will never work. Instead, what we can do, like for example, particularly, let's say if I'm doing this session like right now and it's an important session, and if there is some thought coming to my mind which is disturbing me, so what I can do, that I can just tell myself that, okay, I'm going to get back to this thought. So maybe I can, people who have a tendency to have these overthinking negative thoughts constantly, I often say that you can actually schedule time for overthinking. And it seems very strange, I know, but honestly, it works like magic. So, for example, let's say 5 p.m. is my time for overthinking, and I genuinely sit down with my thoughts and let all of those negative, whatever overthinking thoughts to come by. But I know that my duration is 5 to 5:30. So 5:30, I'm gonna just let go of those thoughts and come back to doing what I'm doing. And honestly, it works a lot. So, any of you who have a problem of overthinking can try this, scheduling time for overthinking. So what this does is that any other time when these thoughts pop up, I can tell myself that, okay, I will get back to it. So I can make a note of it, that, okay, overthink about this particular topic at 5 p.m. So that really helps. And in that way, you're not really suppressing those thoughts, you are giving it space, but at a particular time. And secondly, knowing that, even though there are thoughts coming by in our head, like I said, it only has power over us if we start believing it, if we start paying attention to it. So if we don't pay attention, the thought will just come and it will just pass. And over a period of time, it'll stop coming because we're not paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
Okay, so I
this
know what I'm doing
scheduling,
8 to 8:30
yeah,
today.
this scheduling thing is actually a tip
It's
that
a good
my
idea.
friend,
Oh.
she told me about. She was going through a breakup and she was
Mm-hmm.
just sad about it, as anyone would be. And she was just like, I'm so sick and tired of like
Being
crying over
sad,
this
yeah.
person. I'm going to schedule time, only 20 minutes a day I will cry about it, and then I will go about my day. And
Very
I,
effective.
yeah, and now that you're saying the same tip, I'm just like, okay, there is some truth and there is some, results to
Yeah,
it.
but on a genuine note, this does sound like I haven't tried it yet. So in theory, it sounds like it would be effective because in your mind also you're like, okay, now it's not like I'm suppressing the thought. I'm allowing myself to feel it completely for like a half an hour, whatever, and then I'm done. So I think that's a really good thing.
Yep.
So before we sign off, for everyone watching, what would you say are some practices or some activities, something like this scheduling time we can do at home to just generally try and be as stable as
And
we would like?
balanced,
Yeah.
to be able to balance our emotions mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think journaling is something that I advocate for a lot, because journaling is also something which is very self reliant, right? We don't have to depend on somebody when we are going through something that, so if we just need a pen or paper, or wherever you want to journal, you can journal digitally as well. It's also a great habit that can help you reflect a lot in terms of what's going on. So you can look back and read what you have written, and it can help you see that from a third person's point of view.
Yeah.
So it's very effective, very helpful. So on a daily basis, to take care of our mental health, our daily stresses, I think it's a great habit to build over a period of time. So that's one thing. And other than that, of course, what we talked about, I think giving space to our emotions, not suppressing it, not avoiding it, but actually genuinely sitting down with our emotions, and using better ways to express, like healthier ways to express our emotions, is a very, very important thing that we can do on a daily basis. And movements, which I talked about, in the beginning, try and find some form of movement.
Yeah.
And fourth, which I really want to stress upon, is finding meaning in something. I think most of the mental health issues happen, especially when it comes to depression, when we start to lose meaning in life, right? In fact, even people who reach the suicidal tendencies, or when they even reach that phase, is because they're not finding meaning in life. So I think having, whether it is work or hobby or any voluntary service, whatever that might be, I think finding what gives you meaning in your life and doing that consistently, finding time for that, is something that can really go a long way to protect your mental health, and also to make you more resilient as a person. Because when we have meaning in our life, no matter what is going wrong, it can help us move on, it can help us pick ourselves up, because there is a driving factor. Yeah. So that drive is extremely important. So I think I would highly recommend that we keep finding certain activities that give us meaning and do more of that on a daily basis.
That's such great advice, because then you always have something that's bigger than you
Pushes,
and your
yeah.
problems and everything at that moment, whatever you're feeling. So it's like,
I think it also gives motivation to like
yeah,
wake up the next day and be like, okay, I have like this is what is what I want to do
correct.
today. So yes, thank you so much for sharing those tips, spending some time with us. We've learned some great things, and even the audience is very happy with all the things that we have spoken about. So thank you so much.
Please follow Charvi on her social media. You can see it on the screen. And whenever you all want some tips, I hope everyone can reach out onto your social media as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was lovely chatting with the two of you. Thank you for having me.
That was very
That
informative.
was like relaxing
Yeah.
and validating. Like
Very, yeah.
you can feel your feelings.
Yeah, I think, another important thing about just mental health in
Mm-hmm.
general is to feel like you're not alone.
Hmm.
Like, you don't want to feel like, oh, I'm the only one who feels these things. So, having like a therapist or a friend or just someone you can confide and be like, okay, matlab, you're not crazy.
Yeah,
And, this
emotional
is
support
support,
friend.
yes, is super important.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now that we have a lot of you guys have already asked us a lot of questions in the comments, so now we are going to announce the next two winners of today's show. So your names are going to be on the screen now. Congratulations, Mamta and Lily. Lily is the name of my cat. That's cute. But congratulations to both of you. And please send us your contact details and address on the email above. So, live@purple.com. Make sure you send it to us so we can send you amazing gift hampers from Purple.
Yes.
So, we have a game, like not a game, but we have
A few questions prepared for like,
everyone.
yeah, and y'all can also please answer them and interact with us.
Like questions, and if you want to throw in like a
This,
like
what I want to
a
know what this is.
life experience, light-hearted.
Yes.
So we'll start off with, have you ever felt like, this is what we are calling it.
Yes.
So have you ever felt like, first, have you ever felt like your emotions are like a roller coaster that forgot the slow setting?
Yes. At least twice a week.
Yeah.
At
So
least.
yeah, this is like a major thing for sure. It's like your head is fully spiraling and
Yeah. And I think it usually is again induced by a lot of stress. Depends on what all is happening that day.
yeah.
But I think now we have a good
Yeah,
coping
now we know how to
mechanism.
find the slow setting.
Yes. Yes. So yeah.
Yeah, and here's the next question. have you ever felt like you have a hidden talent for overthinking even the
It's not hidden.
It's not, yeah,
It's out
overthinking
there.
even the simplest
Yeah, yeah. Do you
decisions.
have like an incident where you've like overthunk, overthought?
Overthought.
No, wait.
There is no thunk.
Overthink. Everyone's laughing. Listen, guys, I've heard it in some context, but my bad.
Did you only say it?
Shh. Next, have you ever like overthought a
Yeah,
situation?
I really have. So I got into like a fight with a friend of mine, and I kept thinking that, they're mad at me and I have done something. And like a day or two later, I find out that like it was fully not about me. Like they were having an argument with their dad, and I was nowhere in the picture. So first I was like, wow, that's rude not to be mad at me. But
Yeah, you didn't make it about me.
yeah, like why didn't you make it about me? But it was I was glad to know it wasn't about me also.
That's good. Good.
So our next question is, have you ever felt like staying indoors for mental peace instead of socializing?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very big thing, because it's like we work like a 9 to 5, not a, I mean, whatever, a 9 to 5 technically, or 5 days of the week. And it's like you get these 2 days on the weekend, and how do you make the most of it? It's like every weekend there is this.
So I'll tell you what. Have you seen that meme where basically have you seen the Cruella de Vil? She's on the bike and her hair is flying.
I know,
and
I've seen every meme.
and and basically it reads that trying to maintain a 9 to 5 a social life, get enough rest,
and be productive on the weekends.
productive, and all of those things. And some days I feel exactly like that, and I think the only way to kind of recharge is just spend some time
alone
with myself. And even if I have to just like lie down and look at the ceiling for 10-20 minutes, I think that helps to like
like last Sunday I was like awake only for like 4 hours, and it was a great day. I didn't socialize with anyone.
Yeah, I think rest, I think we've forgotten how to have like take rest.
Yeah, it's like literally I feel like now in this, like, we know it's a very fast paced sort of life, and it's literally like if you take one day of complete rest, you have lost one day of your life. But that's not how that's how I think about
that's
it.
where
Which is wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong. Someone here is saying my piece is shopping from Purple.
My piece is fully, like, I agree with you.
It's
shopping
directly proportional to the spends and the things in my cart.
This is something we will not
retail
talk about too much.
is helpful, but then your bank account will have to pay for it.
But see, I'll see, this is not a complete plug, but honestly, on Purple there are a lot of offers, so I don't feel that bad, and I do get my deals, so it's okay.
Once in a while even I
Forgive
do.
us.
Like it really helps. It gives me that little boost of energy every time I hear that my parcel is coming.
Yes. So guys,
I'm like, yes.
If
it works
you want
sometimes.
to indulge in some retail therapy without feeling too bad, we do have the monsoon sale live right now on the Purple app. So go ahead, feel your feelings and feel
the
products. Okay, so the next last question for have you ever felt like is, have you ever felt like your favorite hobbies or activities serve as a form of therapy for your soul? Absolutely.
Yes. I'm just trying to think about my hobbies.
I have one, okay, which is not something I haven't done in years, but like a few weekends ago I sat and I painted. And I was like, why did I ever stop doing this? And it was such a whoosh moment.
I'll tell you why. I think like in my experience, why anything where you're moving and like feeling things works is because it's like it's not digital, right?
Yeah.
But you're actually feeling all those different textures, which means you're out of your head and in your body.
And
so that's why I feel
like you're actually it's the repetitive motion, and it's your mind is blank and you're just focusing on, let me get this damn flower right.
Yes, I think for me that is like swimming. I don't do it as often as I would like to, but when I'm swimming, it's just like everything just shuts up. Which is quite true because you're under the water, you can't really hear anything anyway. But I think even then, like, my mind just calms down.
I do love a good swim, and I fully agree with you on that, because also water acts like this sensory deprivation
Yeah.
kind of a vibe. So it's like you're under the water, you can't hear, and it's just like that.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah,
Exactly.
that sound is very comforting.
Yep.
Okay. And so now that was the last question for have you ever felt like? And I think we have a lot of comments coming in as well.
Someone is saying dancing.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I used to dance until wait, this is so funny. So I used to dance to help.
Professionally?
No, sun to. So I used to dance to help with my anxiety.
Hmm.
But then I got anxiety while dancing. So
How
I
did
was
this-
just
how did
like,
this happen?
this is become counterproductive. I should just stop for a bit.
But how did you get anxiety while dancing?
Because I was just like, I forgot the steps a
Mhm.
couple of times, okay, which happens, it's normal. And then I was like, oh, everyone's staring at me. Oh, I look different while I'm dancing.
Yeah.
So then it became counterproductive. I was like, I'll take a break.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Sangeeta, if you like dancing, please dance.
Yes,
It's very
dance.
good.
You dance at home so you don't feel awkward.
I do. Like, I'm thinking, like, I do have those like solo dance sessions in the morning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So for me also, I mean, dance, like I'm not really known as a great dancer, but just like listening to music and, honestly, what really helps for me, it's not just walking, but it's like walking with intention. The supermodel walk
To
is
where,
my, no, just
Acha, aise. I thought like
it's not about the destination, about the journey.
Miley Cyrus's Climb is and it's from there
Oh,
only, na?
yeah, Miley Cyrus Climb.
It's the Climb.
It's like my K-pop playlist is
Oh.
on, and then I'm not bothered. Then I'm
Yeah.
just like really, I walk like on the road also. I walk as if I'm fully strutting, like I need to go there and I
So
need to
she
do it.
main character energy. You have to just
Trying.
channel. Yeah. Sometimes you know how every character has an arc. Sometimes I'm just in the low arc. I'm just like waiting for when will I.
It's like this is my character development phase.
Yeah. And sometimes I was like, ho gaya character develop. But
Yeah. When
now
is the
I would.
arc?
When
do we climb up?
But I think it's very normal, and the more we talk about it, the more it becomes easier to feel like less alone and to have these open conversations.
Very true.
Yep.
So we have a lot of people sharing their hobbies in the comments as well, and Devang is saying that you should start dancing again.
I will think about it. Yes.
Consider it.
Yeah.
So
Someone
guys,
saying
yeah.
football also. I think sports also great way of
Yeah,
channeling.
two people who don't really know about sports.
Good.
Yeah, great. Sports is amazing. I love sports. All of them.
Hey, just 1 second. Let's just retract.
Okay.
Ask Google if overthunk is a
Oh.
word. It is. Okay?
So our
thank you.
producer
Yeah.
backstage has actually asked if overthunk is a word, and it is. So it is the past.
Participle of overthink.
Is it not overthought?
We will do an English
See,
session
I feel it should
for
be
the
overthought.
next Beyond Beauty. Okay, let us
That'll
know
be
if
beyond grammar.
we'll work on the names also. But before we sign off, we
Mhm.
have our fifth and final winner ready, and let's have it on the screen.
Congratulations, Upma Gupta. You are our final fifth winner of the day, and please share your contact details here on live at Purplle.com, and we will share a very exciting Purple hamper with you soon.
Yes. Hey, do you sing or what?
Who told you this?
No, I was just reading a comment where someone is saying, wanna sing a song. So I thought maybe it's
Which
coming
one?
from it's coming from something specific you
No,
must
no,
have.
I don't sing. I tried, and my dad actually is like a professional musician, so he sings, he plays instruments.
What happened to you?
I said I tried, so I have he's given every instrument possible in my hands.
Oh wow. What just off topic. What
Okay,
instrument?
all the instruments I have tried and failed. Okay, flute.
Yeah, I used to play the flute.
And
Yeah.
you succeeded.
I did for 4 years and
Good,
then I
good
stopped.
for you. I tried flute when at age 8 or 10. Then we had piano
Huh.
at 12, I guess.
I did happy birthday for that.
That I knew.
Everyone knew.
Okay, fine. Then tabla.
Ooh, it's not an easy.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it because I kept thinking I looked damn funny. So then I stopped. Next and final instrument was guitar, and like my issue was that guitar was
Too
damn
big.
big, and I was smaller than what I am now.
But
So
you-
that way I tried everything, but instruments is not the vibe for me, and even singing is not really.
So
We've been thinking about rap, so maybe I can
maybe.
rap.
So maybe Sangeeta, in the next live we'll have Mohana rap something for you, because she's very adamant on it.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, for you. But this has been a very interesting
Mhm.
and very fun live to learn so much about mental health. And any last closing thoughts?
I would say again to sort of recap on the tips we learned today. One thing I feel like I am going to give all of you homework, okay? All of our viewers and our everyone in the studio, all of you, definitely try out two things. This scheduling time to feel your feelings, very important. I feel like 15 minutes today, everyone should do it. And I feel like you all should tell us in our DMs that you did it. Okay,
Yeah.
and then we'll know and send like 3 purple hearts so we know you came from Beyond Beauty. And another thing you need to do is go on a 15-minute walk.
You sound like my dad, but okay.
But see, movement is needed.
It is honestly, I hate.
Either walk or journal.
Yeah, but but if you can do both, that would be like
You can walk and text and write. And
no, as in like first walk, then journal.
okay. Do everything.
Don't multitask these things, but yes, I
Yes.
think that's
I really like. I know this is like very random, but I really want you guys to do this.
and it helps. I
Hmm.
hate to admit that movement helps because sometimes I
No,
just get so tired by the end of the day. But just a walk around the building also is great
Yeah.
for your mental health.
So, guys, please tell us in the next episode in the comments. Right in the beginning, I want you to tell me that I have done my mental health homework. Okay, it's important. I will be checking. So, please let us know, and we will see you hopefully with your mental health homework done in the next Beyond Beauty next Friday, right here on Glamorous Facebook channel, Purple Facebook channel, and Purple YouTube channel at 1 p.m.
Yes, you were like thinking all
Obviously,
the
I was thinking.
just yeah.
It's everywhere you can find us.
Yes.
And on Instagram, you can find us every day posting.
Lots of cool
Lots of-
tips, tricks, and a lot of skincare stuff. So please make sure you're following us everywhere.
Mhm.
And we will see you all next week. And until next time,
We purple you.